Have you been watching this old footage that we've been putting on? Boy, oh boy, is it taking us back.
It's been really interesting going back and editing and remastering.
Interesting is a real polite way to put it.
Because basically up to this point, we've kind of been doing it in somewhat chronological order as our sheep content has come, and that's taken us all the way back to 2020. And boy, is there a difference between where we started then and where we are now on so many aspects.
So if you haven't taken the time to go back and watch these, if you're new to the channel or even new to Hickory Croft Farm and hadn't gone back to watch those original videos, because let's be honest, who scrolls through 860 videos, right? But this is a great opportunity to go back, kind of laugh at us a little bit, because boy, we were terrible storytellers and terrible videographers. But you know what? It is really, really interesting to go back and look at it all.
And take things out of the vault.
Definitely one of the things that we have realized is that we focused a lot on the fencing. Certainly not the most interesting of topics, but
if you're building a homestead and that homestead incorporates what I'm going to call larger animals, doesn't have to be sheep, but larger animals, fencing's going to be huge. And as boring as it is like your most important piece of making your homestead work and not just drive you insane.
That's exactly right. It is definitely a huge portion of that first year when we moved here, because when we moved here, there wasn't any fences. And of course, as many of you know, if you followed along with our story on Hickory Croft Farm, we moved here with all the livestock already. So the pressure was on to really get things going.
Mm-hmm. And part of that too is the struggle. I think this is the part for me that's a little interesting going back, is we struggled with it. And it really was...
Well, you struggled with it. I handled it amazingly.
But it really was equipment based, because we came to a much larger property than what we had. Fortunately, we had the barn in place. But as you've already seen, there was a few minor things we had to do to the barn as well. And even though the property came with a tractor, said tractor was far more of a hindrance to us than it would help.
Yes, and I think it became a crutch in some ways, because it slowed us down waiting for the tractor to work instead of just going, let's do this the old-fashioned way.
And when we look back at those original videos, granted, the brush hogging, for example, was easier with the tractor, I'm not going to lie. What we've done since then, and since that first year, is kind of amazing. Learning a bit more about the fencing process and putting in corner braces and all that sort of stuff. I think that's pieces that you also didn't see in these videos. They're very much more story and not so much instructional. But we were doing a lot of learning at the same time. Like I say, even right down to how do we actually put together a corner brace. And I know that sounds so silly because there's so many resources for it, but if you've not actually done it, it's kind of a big deal.
It was really acquiring that hands-on experience. I mean, you were book smart, and I was perfectly capable of watching a YouTube how-to video, but it really came down to this was first-hand experience for us.
At this scale. Now,
Yeah.
we'd put up fences before, because we actually took down a lot of fences when we moved here and brought a lot of that fence material with us, but it was not at the scale at which we're trying to attempt, and which we have attempted and succeeded at to date. So I don't know that this video is really all that informative, but it's just it's interesting, because I think to go back and look at those videos, even though the filming wasn't great, it's just that. It's that story that if you are trying to build a homestead, you're going to struggle. You're going to have successes and failures, and some of the things that you're going to end up focusing on the most are probably not the things that you actually want to. They're certainly not the romantic side of homesteading. Hopefully you find it interesting, some of the future stuff that we move over, and you can probably follow the saga a bit better once you see that. I mean, really, in year one, we didn't talk directly about the sheep a lot, but it's almost like everything was in preparation for it, because sheep are not something that, in my opinion, you can limp along with, i.e. do a whole lot of temporary and have it be successful. It's a nightmare if you're trying to do it temporary. your whole life.
So one thing I would be curious on, and please leave a comment below, for those of you that have followed us all these years, did you go back and watch these videos at the beginning? Or what do you think of this, getting a chance to follow the story right from the start? We're just curious because it's actually been very enjoyable. We've been watching every video right along with you guys, and it is certainly quite the nostalgic throwback. I mean, my goodness, the kids were so small and tiny and actually enthusiastic to farm. I mean, where'd those days go? But in all honesty, though, we do appreciate all of you who have come over from Hickory Croft, those that have followed from the beginning, and welcome to any new subscribers that come along the way here. And again, we're going to say it, bear with us as we're moving some of this story over from the old channel. But I think it is important for those that haven't followed all the way along to see the beginning of our journey, rather than just kind of start it right in the middle and people go, well, how come have you always had sheep? Have you, there is a reason behind our madness here for moving everything over, I think. So stay with us. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And we definitely look forward to sharing further content with you. And stay tuned, because for the next little bit, we're going to try every Saturday to produce a new video until we get all the old content moved over. And then it's going to be, woo, here we go.